The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power into creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week. Got ourselves a terrific program. I love the stories that we're going to be talking about this week. Really interesting, kind of tech-oriented stuff. We're going to get into some fun convos. And our guest this week, I am excited to talk to this guy. His name is Mike Sikoski. He is a musician, social advocate, and the artist behind indie pop project A is for Adam. He's doing some really cool stuff on the creative side, and we'll get into that. But I love what he's doing on the nonprofit Save the World side of the ledger as well. He's worked with the Obama Foundation and Sweet Relief, one of my favorite organizations. Those of you out there who are Break the Business diehards know that back in 2020, which I know seems like forever ago, Break the Business actually did a telethon to raise a few $1,000 for Sweet Relief. So that is an organization that has a very special place in our heart, and we would love to talk to anybody who gives a damn about that organization as well. So for that reason, and many, many more, we are pretty excited to have Mike Sikoski joining us in the next segment. Also excited for the co-host who is gracing us with her presence. Whenever she's around, I'm always pretty happy about it. We got Katie Zaccardi here. Hi, Katie.
Hello, Ryan. How are you on this fine evening?
I am tired. I am fully immersed in toddler raising, and that little guy takes it out of me, but in a good way. But got a lot of questions for you.
Okay.
On the personal, professional front, just things I'm genuinely curious about. One is I wanted to get an update on how the Legally Blonde rehearsals are coming along. How has that been going? Because I know you're doing it. For those of you who don't know, Katie is in a local production in Nashville of the Legally Blonde musical, a really fun musical that,
Yes.
as a lawyer, really just cuts to my core, because every time she goes, the guy goes, "You got into Harvard Law," and she says, "What, like it's hard?" I can tell you it's really hard. It's really hard to get into Harvard Law. And I didn't.
Ryan wishes he was Elle Woods, let's be honest.
I so wish I was Elle Woods for the legal brilliance and the fashion sense and everything in between. Who wouldn't want to be Elle Woods? Anyway, how are the rehearsals coming, Katie Zaccardi?
Good. It's been a little slow going so far because there's so many moving pieces and really so many characters in Legally Blonde that we're only starting to get revved up. We did one dance rehearsal so far, which was super humbling. I literally went to rehearsal the next day and I was like, "Are any of you youths also sore? Is it just me?" Thankfully, everyone was sore. We were doing too much bend and snapping. And I woke up and I texted my physical therapist. I'm like, if I make one precarious movement, I will pull out my back, SOS. What do I do? So humbling, but yesterday we blocked the chutney scene, which I am playing chutney. It's the, pivotal scene in the show or climactic scene in the show. So that was very fun. And now I'm off to work on my Boston accent. So yeah, it's very fun. It's a little challenging, but I'm very excited.
So 2 questions. How long until curtain up? And how long until you have that rehearsal a few days before curtain up where the director just yells at you and goes, "I don't think we're going to be ready for opening night."
We don't have a
said
show. We don't have a show.
We don't have a show. Yeah. When's that? Because I've been in enough high school productions in my own life that the "we don't have a show" speech is going to come.
Yeah.
And it always hurts every time. And you always think, oh, this is going to be the time where we don't have a show. But then there's always a show.
Yeah. Well, it's about a month and a half. May 8th, I think, is our opening night. And then Tech Week is that whole week. So basically by May 1st-ish, that's when we're in Do We Have a Show territory, or do we not have a show territory? But and what's crazy is that we don't get the set. Like, they literally cannot build the set until we open on a Friday until the Sunday before. So we only have like 4 days of rehearsing with the actual set. So wish us luck for that. But even still, should be good.
I'm digging this. I will continue to follow up on you and see how things are going with this production. I'm excited for you to get your moment in the limelight, Katie.
Thank you. I am excited too. It's been very fun and like fulfilling my inner child and my adult child.
I think, and it's good throughout your life to get these kind of opportunities for yourself. Whether you are fully immersed in creative activity or it's just something you dabble in from time to time, I think everybody should surround themselves with a little bit of art. And so I'm glad you found an outlet for yourself, because I know you love this stuff, and I know you got the skills for it, even though it's not what you're doing 24/7. And I think that's so cool for you. I'm also pretty stoked, Katie, because I think you're going to like our guest this week. I think, he's a really neat dude. He's got the social conscience, he's got the great music, and he is a NYU guy.
Woohoo!
And so for some reason, we always seem to line up the NYU people for you and me.
Perfectly.
And so, we get to talk to a fellow Bobcat, Violet. What are we, by the way? Because I've heard both. Are we the Bobcats or the Violets at NYU?
And you know what? As soon as you said Bobcat, I was like, if you had asked me, I wouldn't have even said that, but that sounds right. What is
that? Might be the
Violets?
first question we ask Mike, because maybe he knows the answer. I swear I've heard both before.
But the Violets, that doesn't really have enough depth to it, I feel.
It doesn't strike fear into the hearts of our opponents.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think it's Bobcats. That's my vote.
But I mean, Violets does kind of fit NYU. Like we're kind of a fluffy group. we're not striking fear into the hearts of anyone at Greenwich Village. But we'll ask Mike. He'll be the tiebreaker on this. But in the meantime, Katie, I got a couple interesting stories for you. First one is right in kind of your wheelhouse, because this is what, one of the things you do for a living when you're not playing the role of Chutney in a community theater production, is you are a consultant to a lot of really terrific creative professionals. And in a recent Billboard guest column, friend of the show and your morning coffee host, Jay Gilbert, talked about the recent rise of artist and label services consultants that are kind of filling the industry right now, many of whom are former label and publishing executives who are now offering their expertise directly to indie artists. And on the surface, the article notes that this is a huge opportunity for creators, because artists now can access major label strategy and just general career advice without having to give up their masters like you would with a label, or a big percentage of your earnings like you would with a manager. And so these consultants, they're pretty helpful. Like, much like how you do, Katie, you can help them with marketing, social media, playlisting, touring, release strategy. But what the article notes, and I think you'd agree with this, is that the catch in all of it is that this space is getting pretty crowded. There are more consultants than ever, probably because, a lot of these label execs are getting put out on the street, and they're hanging up a shingle as a consultant. And certainly not all consultants are created equal. And so Gilbert talks in the article about artists doing their due diligence. Make sure that if you're going to hire one of these people, if one of these people approaches you, check their track record. Look at artists they've worked with and whether those artists' careers are growing. Make sure they're not overly inflating their past roles. Just because you worked at a label doesn't mean you did something significant at that label. Yeah. And make sure that the relationships that they are relying on, or that they say they have, still carry weight. Don't be afraid to interview these people like a job app candidate. Ask them how they're going to grow your streams and build your audience and support your tour. And when looking for these people, ask other artists in your network for referrals, because in this space, reputation can matter more than just a flashy pitch. And so I think the bottom line here, Katie, and I'd love to get your firsthand perspective on this, is that consultants can be valuable, but you got to choose the right one and under the right terms. So how do you, as a consultant, Katie, for the artists who are considering working with somebody in your field and wants to try to find a good one versus a not so good one, what should they be looking for?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I definitely think that there are a lot of great people out there. There are a lot of people who are seeing the trend and think they can help, but like maybe aren't a great fit for you. And also there are a lot of people who might be riding off the coattails of one important relationship they had 10, 20 years ago or something like that. That's like seems flashy, but might not actually be relevant to where you're at. So the first thing there I would say is like, don't just get distracted by like shiny names or just like, I worked with this person and this person a really long time ago and barely was involved with them. Like, make sure that you're checking that stuff out too and seeing, okay, but how is that relevant to me now? But one of the things that I also like to encourage people to look at that's not something you mentioned, because everything you mentioned so far is great, is to look for people who are an actual good fit for you and your energy and how you best work. Because I think that there's different types of coaches, there's different types of coaching styles, and there's different reasons to get a coach. And I actually kind of had this epiphany even clearer as a coach last year, because I don't do as much coaching, or I don't pitch my services as much as I used to. But there's a core group that I work with weekly who I've worked with for a very long time. And long story short, someone new came to me and they were kind of just trying to get some information. And what this person was looking for was really someone to give them do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, do these steps, like sort of just like educate and be gone, and like to tell them exactly what to do. And it ended up not actually being a good fit for us to work together, because my style as a coach is very collaborative. It's very much like, okay, we're going to open this doc and like, I'm going to guide you through it, but I want to hear your ideas and thoughts. I'm going to give you mine. We're going to like brainstorm together. We're going to talk about what's holding you back, and not just like, here's the information, take it and do what you will with it. And neither is right or wrong. It's just like, what are you setting out to do and what's going to be the best style to get you there? And that might ebb and flow based on just the project that you're working on and the space that you're in. Like, it's not even necessarily one thing set forever and ever. But to me, that is really important, because it's like, do you need accountability? What kind of accountability do you do best with? How frequently do you want to be talking to coaches? Do you want just information? Do you want someone who is more of like a life and business coach, which that's kind of how I would see myself in terms of like thinking of it from a more collaborative way versus like a teacher or a mentor. Does that make sense?
It does. And you know, you almost sound more like a professional muse. Like you like I work
Wait,
at the
I'm
Safety
adding that to my
cut
business
tabs. But
That's so funny.
but like I think but I think the broader point is that, you know, every coach and every consultant is going to have their own style, and you need to make sure that what you want from them is going to mesh with that style. And so
Yes.
the artist who comes in with like the list of the 10 things they precisely want, as you noted, that person's not necessarily wrong in wanting to have a coaching relationship that looks like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that every coach is a good fit for that. That being said, I would caution against an artist, you know, being too rigid about what their expectation is, because one of the things that you're paying for with a consultant or a coach's expertise is them to tell you what you should be emphasizing and what problems you need to be solved. And so, you know, having some flexibility there for some good give and take that Katie's talking about is pretty helpful too.
Yeah.
I'm also pretty skeptical. Like, I shouldn't say skeptical. You need to take with a grain of salt any person who sells you on relationships. The music industry in particular is a very small one. Everybody works with everybody, and big time artists have very, very large teams. And so somebody could work with Ed Sheeran, but and say that they've worked with Ed Sheeran, but be one of a 900 person team of Ed Sheerans and not actually have Ed Sheeran's phone number. And so if you are looking to work with somebody because you think they're going to connect you to Ed Sheeran, or this is somebody who is brilliant enough to have had direct impact on Ed Sheeran's career, you might wind up being woefully underwhelmed by what you get delivered to you.
Yeah. And like, they probably learned a lot from working with Ed Sheeran that they can teach you. But if you're trying to work with them because you think they're going to like introduce you to him, I would just rethink that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I do appreciate, I mean, one thing I do like about the rise of these consultants is I think it does fill a bridge need that a lot of creatives have, where sometimes you do need a little bit of help, a little bit to get you from step 3 to step 4. And it used to be, before this kind of became like a more legitimate field in the entertainment industry, is artists would just try to go right to getting a manager. I need somebody to help me who's connected, who can give me advice. And my only option is somebody who wants to sign me to a 3-year deal with, 2 1-year options and wants to take 20% of my gross income for that time.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you don't want that. You don't want to give that kind of stuff up. But what you need is just somebody who's going to sit down with you for a few hours and help you map out your next few steps without it costing you 20% of your earnings. And so I think those consultants can serve a nice bridge between the early stage people who don't need full-time managers to get you to a point where your career is thankfully so successful that you do need a manager to help you manage it.
Yeah.
But that being said, there are, much as there are a lot of bad managers out there who don't do their jobs well and can exploit you, there are lots of coaches who also have those negative traits, unfortunately. And so you do need to exercise a lot of discretion in who you choose to hitch your wagon to.
Yeah. And if I may add one more thing too, I would also be very aware of your budget and what you can reasonably spend on a coach. And I say this as someone who, again, is a coach and has had coaches. One of the reasons why I slightly pulled back from the coaching industry was because I was really perturbed by the way a lot of coaches would act like they deserve to be charging a bajillion dollars for their services. And like, it felt very gross, frankly, to me. And I think a lot of people might try to charge an amount that doesn't feel good to you for many and I could go on like an hour-long tangent in this, so I'll keep it brief, but they may be in their right to charge that price, but it might not be in your budget. Or on the other hand, they may also be pricing it because of like a name or two that they can throw in their relationship bucket. And like, maybe they're not as experienced as the price suggests. So all I'm saying is to be really, use discretion, because it is not worth spending all of your money or going broke or going into credit card debt, most of the time at least, to like work with a coach who like you think is going to solve all your problems, because that's not how it works either. You have to put in the work. You have to like still participate in your career. Things still have to line up, and like opportunities and things aren't going to just like magically work out and become beautiful because you spent all of your money on a coach who you think is going to solve all your problems.
There is no Sherpa to help you climb up music industry mountain. Or entertainment industry mountain. You are ultimately the final straw in whether or not you have the success you want. And you can't just offload that onto somebody else, whether it is a consultant or a manager, and expect them to take you to the top. If that is your expectation, you will either be significantly underwhelmed with how well they deliver on that, or, heaven forbid, you get pretty badly exploited because you fall for some false promises, which I've unfortunately seen way too often. We'll do one more quick story here. Oh, I should mention, one of the things I want to do in the next segment with our Mike Psychowski interview, Katie, is I found out through reviewing some of Mike's materials that he is something of a yacht rock fan.
Oh.
And were you here last time we had the yacht rock guy on? I believe
yes,
you
I
were.
was. Yes, I was.
In honor of Mike being a yacht rock fan, I did have an emailer ask me a few weeks ago, when are we going to play Hipster Bar or a Yacht Rock song again? And so
Just fortuitous timing.
one of my favorite ever Break the Business segments, we're going to bring it back this week with Mike, assuming he's willing to play with us. We're going to do another round of Hipster Bar or Yacht Rock songs. I have a whole new set for us to play with Mike. And so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a blast. But before we hop into that story, I wanted to quickly talk about a legal piece of news here. For those of you who have been following a lot of these lawsuits against AI companies, there's a pretty high octane one that happened some time ago where a group of music publishers led by Universal Music Group have filed a lawsuit against Anthropic, the software company that has created the Claude AI platform that's been in the news a lot lately with the Department of Defense stuff and things like that. But these publishers have recently asked a judge in California to determine whether or not Anthropic's use of these publishers' song lyrics to train its AI platform constitutes fair use or not. Obviously, the publishers want the judge to say, no, this is not fair use, what Anthropic is doing, and thus using all of these copyrighted songs to train Claude constitutes copyright infringement. This is going to be a pretty big ruling. However it shakes out, right? We've had some federal courts that have said that AI training is likely fair use, and we've had some courts that have said the opposite. I believe this is the first case where it's been an issue in the publishing and song space. And so this is going to be pretty pivotal because ultimately the fair use question is the most important question. If it is fair use, then AI companies are going to get the green light to really use a lot of this copyrighted data. If it is not fair use and it's considered copyright infringement to use this copyrighted work to train AI, it could significantly affect and hamper the development of AI. So it's pretty huge one way or another. And so for the uninitiated, what we mean when we say fair use is there's this exception in copyright law. Copyright, you can't use people's stuff. You can't use people's copyrighted work without the permission, songs, movies, books, things like that. But we have this doctrine in federal law called fair use, which allows some use of copyrighted material without permission to help achieve like certain purposes that are meant to be ultimately beneficial to the copyright system. For example, you're generally allowed to take quotes from a book that you're reviewing to help you do a review of that book if you were, say, a critic, right? Because we generally like criticism and critique as a society. We want critics to be able to do their job. And so we allow critics to use some copyrighted material to help them review that material and publish that review. And so the question here is using copyrighted material to train this AI, which has a lot of business and creative and other benefits to society, supposedly, is that another kind of purpose that we would allow this kind of use of copyrighted material for? And the music publishers are trying to say, no, this is not the kind of stuff that we should be trying to encourage with fair use. And I think a couple of their arguments are interesting. One of the things that the publishers made in their most recent legal filing this week is they said, look, we agree that fair use exists to help promote new work, right? Like we want people to create criticisms of prior work, so we allow fair use for that. But what the publisher said is that this is not that scenario because the AI is not creating new human work. It's creating new AI work. And work created by AI, outputs created by AI is not the kind of authorship that fair use is supposed to create.
Yeah.
And so that's one argument. The other argument that they made that is kind of intriguing is whether or not we think that AI could be fair use, it ceases to become fair use when one of the things that Claude will do is just wholesale reprint an artist's song lyrics in Claude, right? If you can ask Claude, just, write out the chorus of my favorite song, and sometimes it'll do it. That's not fair use. That's just regurgitating lyrics.
Yeah.
And so that's the publisher's argument. I mean, I have some critique of it in the sense that, like, Claude will generate a lot of just pure AI output, but presumably some people are using AI to create other works too, right? Like when you use a platform like Suno to make a song, you might be putting some of your own originality in there with the Suno to create some new unique work. And maybe that's the kind of work that is contemplated by fair use.
Yeah.
And so I think they could say that in response, and it could be tricky, but it's going to be interesting. We're going to want to follow this case.
And that's a key word, is might, right? It's like they might be using it to do that, but they also might be using it to just have AI do the whole entire thing and try to pass it off as their own. And then that's when it becomes really murky. And how do they monitor that? How do they determine where the line is? Like, I feel like it's tricky to not have it be all or nothing, because then there has to be a lot of surveillance and clarity and like boxes checked and monitored. That to me seems like it would be challenging to do.
Well, that is going to be, I mean, you just nailed what I think is the central question of all of this, is if you have a technology that is capable of being used in a way that potentially furthers the creative interests of copyright, but also has the potential to just do like evil stealing of copyrighted work, and it's doing both at the same time, how do you weigh that from a fair use standpoint? And at what point does the good outweigh the evil, or vice versa?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that if you are just trying to, like, one of the things that, from when I've reviewed fair use cases, one of the things that's always been kind of a central tenet of fair use is you can't, we agree that there are these legitimate purposes for using copyrighted material without permission, but generally you're only allowed to use as much as you need to achieve that purpose and nothing more, right? You can take a few quotes from a book to help you write a critical review of that book, but you wouldn't be allowed to just wholesale copy the entire book and reprint that as a way to critique the book, because you're taking more than you need. And so in the AI space, if you are taking literally every song ever written from beginning to end, that seems like you're taking more than you need to achieve the purpose of creating this platform. And so that's where I think the argument is weakest on the AI side.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm really curious to see what happens, because I feel like there might be a case to stave off using the copyrighted material, but I would be really surprised if that ruling lasts forever. It's like, I feel like at some point, if things keep progressing, that won't be the case, but I don't know. I don't know enough about the legalities of it to, sound intelligent, but I think that it is very interesting. And like, on the one hand, I think making it so that AI can't do this could be a really good thing for musicians, because then their jobs aren't in jeopardy. Not that I actually think their jobs are in jeopardy in any way, but like, it would prevent people from just going and, having AI write songs for them and having them be good. But on the other hand, I think sometimes these tools can be used to like fill in a line or two and to make songs better and to help artists grow and learn and improve their skills. So it really is such a challenging topic. I don't have the answer, but I hope somebody else figures it out for us.
I mean, we're all trying to figure that out, including those of us in the legal community, because however this court in this case rules, it's not the end of the question, because this is going to be one federal judge and other federal judges have ruled in different ways. Eventually this gets to an appellate court that's going to have to, come up with a definitive ruling, reviewing all these other rulings. And then maybe even the Supreme Court at some point gets this question. And then they get to be the final word on this, which would be a monumental ruling, because it's literally the future of art in America and, by extension, the world, depending on how you rule on this fair use question. And at any point along the way, you might see what's been happening with a lot of these other lawsuits, which is both sides are going to realize that the stakes are too high if you lose, because it could mean the end of like different industries, or at least as we know it. And so they'll settle. Right. They'll work on some kind of royalty system where the original creators get paid and get licensing fees for their works being used, which is how this should have always been set up to begin with. But I digress. But you know, actually, this is big tech's mantra. It's always better to, you know, ask for forgiveness than seek permission.
Yeah. And you know what? That actually, it makes me want to go full circle with the previous topic we were talking about. I hope that whatever we get from this is that there's some sort of guidelines. I don't want to say necessarily regulations, because that sounds scary, but like we need some guidelines. We need some structure. We need something so that this isn't just all like a freaking free for all. But same thing, going back to our conversation about the coaching industry. Coaching industry is not regulated at all. You don't have to have any like certificate or proof or anything, education. You don't need anything. You can just say you're a coach. So with both AI and with both finding a coach, I think the important thing here is to use your discretion, because everyone's just doing whatever they want. And you have to be the one at this current stage to be smart and to look into these things and decide for yourself like what is true and good.
It's an unfortunate reality, but it's nonetheless a reality, right?
It
the
is.
People whose job it is, whose taxes we pay the salaries for, who are supposed to protect us from all of this stuff, are not doing their jobs. And so it's incumbent upon us as creatives to be more judicious about who we work with and how we work with them, because ain't nobody else going to protect us.
Yep.
All right. Let us take a break. We're going to be joined by our guest in the next segment, Mike Psykoski. It's going to be pretty exciting chat. Don't go anywhere. Keep checking out Break the Business. Break the Business is presented in cooperation with Ryan A. Kairalla, PA. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA is a law firm providing transactional entertainment legal services, including contracts, business formation, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida. rkpalaw.com.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to Break the Business, everybody. Ryan Kairalla here with Katie Zaccardi, having just a grand old time. Thank you for checking us out wherever you care to check us out. We are on SiriusXM 145, all major podcast platforms, a bunch of streaming platforms, including our main live streaming home, volume.com. Wherever you are checking us out, we are just so darn glad that you are. And I'm excited to bring in our guest this week. Let's go ahead and do it, Katie. Our guest this week is an acclaimed musician, songwriter, and social advocate. His latest artistic endeavor is the indie pop project A is for Adam, and he has also worked with the Sweet Relief Musicians Fund and the Obama Foundation. A is for Adam's latest single, Out of the Blue, is available now, and the new album drops on April 10th. You can find out more about our guest's work by visiting aisforatom.com. We are happy to welcome Mike Psykoski on to Break the Business. Mike, how are you?
Great. How are you guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, and boy, is that just like the most important question to answer.
I say it every time.
So
every time I get onto a thing.
Let me let you know what's going on, Mike, in terms of your tech issues, because they're not just unique to you. Okay, And Katie, you're going to find out about this as well. I'm going to let you in on what's been going on.
I think I heard you in the pre-show talking to
For the last
Lauren.
2 or 3 weeks, some Twilight Zone style gremlin has just gotten into the infrastructure of our Break the Business live streaming technology. And we have just had the most catastrophic luck for the last 3 weeks. I want to lay out for you what's been going on, Mike. Okay. So in the pre-show before we did this episode, you were having tech issues. You couldn't hear us. You said it sounded like we were all on tranquilizers in your headphones.
So awesome.
Last week, our co-host Gideon King, right when the show started, his mic just completely disappeared. And we lost him for the first third of the show. Like nothing was working on his end. He was getting error messages by the software. And then 2 weeks ago was perhaps the ultimate tech failure that we had, where we were interviewing our guest in the role that you have right now, Mike. And it was me, co-host Zach Sloan, and producer Lauren. And for some reason, the guest couldn't hear me or Zach, but could hear producer Lauren for some reason. So we were feeding all the questions to Lauren, who then were feeding to the guests. We were like Cyrano de Bergerac, like whispering stuff to Christian, I believe, if I'm remembering my high school drama class correctly. And that's how we did the interview. And it was a complete nightmare, although producer Lauren did a very good job as an interviewer. And so I was afraid that we were going to get a trilogy of tech failures when before the show your equipment wasn't working. But now you sound great and we can hear you and you can hear us.
Well, so my professor at NYU said, I got a master's in music technology, and they said, technology will fail you every time.
Speaking of NYU.
Okay. Yes. You know what? Since you are talking to a couple of NYU alums here, Mike.
Do you know what we are? Do you know what our mascot is?
So like, I know I was listening to it before, and I actually did a search. I was like, because I don't know, but I know that the official mascot is the bobcat, but that the students prefer the violets.
So you were right, Ryan. You had it completely right.
So that the university is trying so hard to be the Bobcats.
They're trying
and the students are just like, no, we're violets.
They're like, no, Bobcat's not.
Yeah, it's like you can't make fetch happen. It's just not gonna happen.
You're not gonna make the fetch happen.
Leave it to NYU students to just not let Bobcat be a thing.
But at least the volleyball team is still undefeated, so it's doing well.
And that's news to me, so that's great to hear.
That always blows my mind. Like for an art nerd school like NYU is, like shockingly good sports teams. I think our basketball team had won like 90 straight games until recently.
Yeah, they're a really good basketball team too.
There you go. Go Bobcats/Violets.
Oh, yeah, whatever it is. So, nobody I knew went to a game or anything. It'd be like,
oh yeah,
sports team.
3 years of school there, never went to a game, not once. Yeah. And the arena was literally across the street from my apartment.
I know, like, there's an arena. Huh.
I mean,
let's go to Josie Woods instead.
Arena's doing a lot of work there. Like I'm really like stretching the term arena to its absolute limit when I refer to NYU's basketball facility, the gym. Yeah.
The gym that I think they tore down since we've been there.
Oh God, I think I did hear about that. Yeah. So who knows where they're playing now. So tell us about A is for Adam, Mike. How did this particular project come together? I was surprised when I read about it. Because I know how much that you work with electronic music. And so when I first listened to the music, I was expecting some electronic music, and then like the songs were not electronic.
No.
Kind of indie pop.
The thing is, I was doing I was at NYU, and I was doing this degree, and I was like, taking all these different classes, and I was always just obsessed with like, what's the good band name? And so I go to all the people and be like, I have all these ideas for band names. And there was this weird documentary from the 1950s called A is for Adam. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool band name. So I said to everybody, hey, what do you think of this name? Like, yeah, that's a good one. Good one. And I said it to Ariel, our friend. She's like, oh, I like that. A is for Adam. That's great. And so I was just it's kind of like catch all. I was like, well, I have all these jobs. I'd be working. I worked at NYU. I got my master's at NYU. And I was like, well, it's just my side project. I'm going to throw everything into it. Like, I'll do some kind of rock thing or whatever I feel like doing is just going to be A is for Adam. And I was like, eventually thinking, oh, it's just going to be Mike Sikorsky. I'm just like, this is my side thing. And it just never left. It was like, well, people get confused with Mike Sikorsky. So I was like, all right, I'll just stick with A is for Adam. So it just kind of kept going. And I've been trying to move on from it, but it just never left. So it's
it does slap pretty hard as a band name. Like that's pretty rad.
Yeah. So I just was kind of like, I'll stick with that. And it's just me. There's nobody else in the band. So like, I'll work with producers, etc. And have a good time doing it. And it's weird. Like it was always a side thing for me, like a hobby. And now it's like slowly turning into a real thing. So it's pretty cool.
But I mean, how is it that you have this tech background and, you have like, the electronic side of yourself, but like this project doesn't sound very techy. Like this sounds just like indie pop music.
I've always been like a rock guy. Like I was in all these bands. I play like all the instruments. I came up in Boulder, Colorado. And so I'd play in the bands over there and I did touring with a bunch of different bands. I even played in like a blues band. I played all around the States, did a bunch of touring. And so I kind of throw it all in, I know how to do everything. I do film scoring. I just kind of done it all with it, and just kind of A is for Adam is it's where it all kind of ends up. So it's just like whatever I feel like doing. And nobody's really telling me what to do. So
that's great. And when you're not making this awesome music and you're not, working with NYU and everything, you got this, this social entrepreneurship streak to you, this save the world streak to you, which we love. You work with an organization that has a very special place in Break the Business's heart called Sweet Relief Musicians Fund. Can you talk about some of the work you've done with them?
Yeah, I do the development, and so I reach out to artists and ask them to donate, and we do auctions. So I head up the auctions. I help with the events, and so I email every huge artist you could think of, and their managers. I talk to them, and we set up auctions. I work with different platforms and to raise funds for the organization. It's been really great experience. It's been about 5 years. I've known them for a long time. I used to work with them when I was at an organization called Atlantic Philanthropies. I would help them with fundraising with that. And so, yeah, it's been a lot. I've known Bill Bennett, the CEO, for years. He was Ariel Hyatt's roommate in Boulder. So I've known them for like 20, 30 years.
And you would probably do a better job of explaining the mission than I would. Talk about some of the great work that Sweet Relief does.
Well, Sweet Relief, we provide, a lot of financial support to musicians and music workers who are looking for a lot of it's health care, but it can be just, making ends meet, and mental health funds. I've been focusing a lot on the mental health aspect of the music industry. Can be tough. There's not a lot of, in the States, there's not a whole lot of, places for people to go to make ends meet. So it's just like we kind of fill that gap. And so it's, people can apply for it. They just go to sweetrelief.org. And if you can prove that you're in the industry, then you can get a grant. So
it's great. Your organization's done a lot of good for a lot of musicians going through tough times. And I do encourage people to go to sweetrelief.org if you're in that kind of position where you need that help. And I'll tell you, Mike, when it comes to Sweet Relief, this program has given until it hurts. We have We've done
That's
a
great.
lot to try to support this organization. Producer Lauren, I'm going to ask something of you that's so unfair given the circumstances, but if you have any pictures, Producer Lauren, of the telethon we did back in 2020
That's
for
awesome.
Sweet Relief, perhaps the hot dog costume that I wore to help get people to donate to Sweet Relief, or the picture of me getting a shaving cream pie in the face once we hit our funding goal at the end of the telethon. If we can get that up on here so we can tickle Mike with that, with some of those great videos, that would be fantastic. But, we love what y'all do there, and
That's great.
think it's
a
great.
org.
Um,
We just did our benefit concert in San Francisco. We had some great guests out there. We had Hosier was the surprise guest, so that was really cool. And then Joan Baez, and so that was a good concert in San Francisco. It was great to get out of New York for the freezing weather. Although I left my kid behind, he was not happy. But
How old is your kid? I know that fatherhood does play a big role in, your music and your art, just the way you approach life.
yeah, he's about to turn 3 April. He'll be 3.
Oh, so yeah, you got it. You around the same age as my kid. My kid's 3 years
Yeah.
old. Is this your first?
It's the first, yeah, probably the
Okay,
only.
so you and I, all right, we're very much in the boat together here. All right, we're both on kid
Yeah.
number 1, about in that toddler age. I don't know how else to say this. How you living, man?
Oh man, you can see.
Are you in
I'm-
the SHI bleep right now? Because woo.
Yeah, I got the monitor here. My wife's in there. She's got the kid is feeling sick, so he's gonna take school off tomorrow. He fell asleep early, thankfully, for this interview. So I was like, what are we gonna do? I don't know what to do. I got the interview. He's gonna be awake, but he fell asleep, so that's good. But he's feeling sick. So yeah, I'm like, it's a world, man.
It is very much a world, and you don't need to mention that your kid is sick at this age. Sick is the default. Let us know when he's
It is
not
supposed
sick.
to.
They're all
That's exactly it. Yeah.
okay. I've been told by producer Lauren that we do have
see.
some photos from the Sweet Relief Telethon we did in 2020. I'm sure they will be maximum embarrassing for me. There it is. All right.
Nice.
Yes, we were in full-on telethon mode. Oh, so I was talking about wearing a hot dog costume and getting pied in the face. We've somehow found a photo of both at the same time to make this maximum professionally devastating for me.
Oh my gosh.
That
That's beautiful. That's great, man.
Oh, it sucked because we were in lockdown. Oh, there I am playing the world's tiniest ukulele. We were in lockdown, and so that was a bummer. But what it meant was everybody helped out with this telethon because nobody had nothing to do, right? Ariel Hyatt showed up. We had the lead singer of Blessed Union for Souls, just this
great.
insane lineup for 8 straight hours of people that were just bored and wanted to raise money for musicians. And it was so much fun. But before we move on to the next thing that I got planned here, wanted to know if I could get some just general advice for you, Mike, on balancing it all for the artists out there who want to make art but want to do this social entrepreneurship stuff, and they have a family. What are you doing to keep it all on the track, man?
I think it's just really important to be mindful of your mental health. You gotta not overwhelm yourself, and you got to, give yourself a break. I mean, you can't do it all, and you can't, expect to be everything to be going all at once. So you just gotta, you gotta chill out, do what you can. Don't get overwhelmed, and if you need to take a beat, just take a beat. And it's a crazy world. There's no reason to overwhelm, and a lot of stuff going on. So that's the way I kind of do it. Just take it easy, man. Take a walk, take a breath.
And I would imagine that one of the things that Mike does to take it easy is that he happens to be a fan of one of the most chill, take it easy genres of music around. I've been told, Mike, that you are a fan of yacht rock, which
Oh yeah, man.
which we are also a fan of.
Which Ryan specifically is very much.
You as if you're not down with the yacht rock. Everybody loves yacht rock, Katie Zaccardi.
I'm not okay, yeah, but I wouldn't define myself as a super fan like you would.
Everybody's down with yacht rock. So one of the things that we did a few months back, Mike, when we had a yacht rock singer on the show, is we debuted what wound up being one of the most very popular segments we've done on Break the Business. Is we played a game I invented called Hipster Bar or Yacht Rock Song.
Oh, nice.
And we can play this with Katie Zaccardi and you, and if producer Lauren wants to join us, she can as well. And basically what it is I'm going to say a number of different names that are either the name of a hipster bar somewhere in the United States or the name of a yacht rock song. And you have to say which one it is. And so that this doesn't unfairly benefit the yacht rock fans, all of the yacht rock songs I'm going to name are fairly obscure.
Okay.
It's not going to be like, a song that everybody knows and then it's too easy. Like these are all going to be deep yacht rock cuts.
Okay.
To make it fair for everybody, including Katie, who has admitted that apparently she despises yacht rock.
I don't just
She's
this is one of those
this
things.
is going to be my last show. I'm going to get fired because I'm not a yacht rock super fan.
This is where I figure out if I overstated my fanhood of yacht rock.
But again, that's the
Go with
great
your
thing
gut.
about this game. No
Go with
yacht
the gut.
rock experience necessary because all these yacht rock songs are super obscure. Producer Lauren, do you want to play with us here? Do you want to just
I'm
moderate?
fine with either. I was gonna say most of our games don't require skill because I win some of them, and we all know I have no accurate ability to say the right thing at the right time.
Okay, so fair enough. So we have let's see, how many of these do we have? 1, 2, 3. All right, so we have 6 of them. So each of you will get 2. And then whoever has the most points, or if we have a tie, wins. And if we have a tie, then we will, we'll have a tiebreaker question.
Okay.
So Lauren, can you give us some good game music here? Do we have something
I'm gonna feed the ducks.
Yeah.
I gotta find it, but we're gonna feed the ducks.
We're gonna play the best stock music that StreamYard has to offer.
I love feeding the ducks.
Yeah.
It's
Do we have it
coming.
up?
Oh, it is. It's just all the way quiet. We're gonna bring it back up.
There we go. Okay.
We're
So we're going to start with our guest. Mike, you have the first one. Is this a hipster bar or a yacht rock song? Navy Strength.
I'll go with the hipster bar.
Navy Strength is a Seattle, Washington hipster bar.
Oh,
Very good. Oh, see, this is historically the guests always kick y'all's butts.
I was gonna
No,
say
I was
yacht
gonna
rock.
say yacht rock.
See, they threw you off with Navy.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Katie Zaccardi.
I'm just so nervous.
One Bad Habit.
Yacht rock.
One Bad Habit is a 1980 Michael Franks yacht rock song. Oh,
Let's go.
Oh. The crew is bringing it today. All right, producer Lauren, your 2 opponents are already doing pretty strong here. The next one, Thistle and Clover, hipster bar or yacht rock song?
Hipster bar.
Thistle and Clover is a Brooklyn, New York hipster bar.
It's an Irish bar too, right?
Have you been there, Lauren?
That's true. She's a New Yorker. Wait, she might actually know this one.
I've been there. I think I've been there.
Is it in the financial district?
I like the name though. I want to go now.
See, the reason why our guest, who was a yacht rock band frontman, won this game is because he was also a hipster. And so for everyone, he either knew it was a yacht rock song or had actually been to that hipster bar before. So we couldn't beat him with that. All right, back to our guest, Mike. Jewel of the South.
I think that's a yacht rock song.
Jewel of the South is a New Orleans, Louisiana
Hipster
hipster bar.
I missed it.
I was
Oh,
going
that one
hipster
could have
bar.
gone either way. Don't.
All right, Kitty.
it's-
Don't worry, we'll screw up too.
All right. The next one is for Katie Zaccardi. Minute by Minute.
Oh, that.
Yacht Rock.
Minute by Minute is a 1978 Doobie Brothers Yacht Rock song.
Did you know that song, Mike?
I did.
No,
You
no.
said it, and I saw his reaction. He's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, you knew that one."
Minute by minute by minute.
All right.
That happened.
Lauren,
Michael
if you
McDonald.
get this right, then you and Katie are in a tiebreaker.
I think he needs bonus points for actually knowing the song.
That's, you know.
Though I
honestly.
might get bonus points for drinking at the bar. So
But if you get this one right, then. Yeah, but if you get this one wrong, Katie wins. If you get this one right, we have to go to a tiebreaker.
okay.
The bar/yacht rock song is The Driftwood.
Ooh, that's hard.
Okay, if it was just Driftwood, I'd go with Yacht Rock. But because it's the Driftwood, I'm going to go with Bar.
The Driftwood is a 2026 yacht rock song by John Tonic and the Brain Killers. Katie Zaccardi,
Wins it.
the big winner of Hipster Bar Yacht Rock song this week.
I have to be honest, that goes to Mike. Mike deserves that one.
Dude,
He knew the
a
song that I got right. Like he wins.
No, it's all right.
We bow to that.
I can't accept this. I can't accept this trophy. But
I will give respect in the music industry. Anybody who knows anybody else's song, like it could be a Prince song, and I'm like, good job knowing another artist. And then you get to obscure stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's like a badge of honor.
yeah, it is a badge of honor.
I love it. Good job.
That game is just fun as hell every time. Why do so many hipster bars sound like they could be yacht rock songs? I don't understand.
I never even, I didn't put that together till now. No,
I mean, but here we are. Okay, our guest has been Mike Sikoski from A is for Adam. You can find out more about our guest work by visiting aisforadam.com. Thank you for putting up with our silliness this week, Mike. We've had a real blast with you.
Thanks.
Before we let you go, we got one last question for you. Do you have any last tips for the indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
Well, I mean, I think just sticking with your being as honest as you can, like I think honesty is the main thing, and just be honest with yourself and don't get overwhelmed. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, to quote the AC/DC. So it's like it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So let's just hunker down, do what you can, and don't get discouraged. I think it's a great, rewarding career if you can make it happen. So
I like your perspective there, but what does honesty mean to you in this context? Are we talking about being creatively honest in your business dealings? And obviously you might just say all of the above, but like when you were saying honest just now, what were you thinking?
I was thinking about how you view the world, right? Like I was thinking about your talk about AI, like if, AI, it may or may not be a good tool, but I think if you just kind of don't get overwhelmed by these kind of things and just stick to your own intuition. It's like I guess it's kind of cheesy, but if you're in Star Wars and he turns the computer off, and like that's like the big climax of the movie. He's like, why did you're flying to blow up the Death Star and you turn off the computer and you're relying on your instinct. Just stick with that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. It's a huge technological world right now. I think being honest is just sticking with what you think you can do, and AI, whatever, it could be cool, it could not be cool, but
You had me at the Star Wars reference, Mike.
Yeah.
That's how you got me on your side. I love that enough that I'm going to retroactively give you the Hipster Bar Yacht Rock song trophy. I'm going to take it away from Katie and give it to you because you closed us with a Star Wars reference, which I very much appreciated. Because I don't know if Katie likes Yacht Rock or Star Wars, and that kind of bums me out.
First of all, I offered the trophy up, so you can't take
did,
away
yeah.
what I've already
You can't
offered.
fire me. I quit.
She already gave me
Second
the yacht
of
ride.
all, though, I think we can close with an analogy very much akin to the Star Wars, which is that you have to trust your gut, just like when you are playing Hipster Bar or Yacht Rock Song. Trust your intuition.
Our thanks to Mike Sikoski. Our thanks to Yacht Rock aficionado Katie Zaccardi. Our thanks to producer Lauren for giving up that very embarrassing hot dog picture of me. And thanks to all of you for checking out Break the Business. We'll see you next week.